Morning. I'm wearing my nifty headset. If you're joining me, let me know if you can hear me properly. And the reason is because Facebook isn't connecting to my Yeti. I love my Yeti. Anyway, so here I am. This is what I look like in most of my meetings, if you didn't know. Today is Thursday, Thirsty Thursday, right? Thirsty for knowledge and also Thankful Thursday. Thankful for maybe your sleeping pet that's not annoying you. So every day lately, 5 days a week, I get on here, talk about business and marketing because, well, it's been crazy out there in the marketplace, and there's a lot to pay attention to right now if you are in the marketing sphere or business. It's pretty interesting how things are changing, what's changing, and how rapidly things change. So I wanted to get on here, talk about some marketing things, some business things. One of the things that is pretty interesting is that we often find that growth is essential for business, right? We have to grow. That's the idea. That's the plan. But right now it feels weird to grow in certain ways or push in certain ways. But growth is critical. So I guess my question for you today is, how are you pivoting or growing, whether it be personally or professionally? What are you doing for self-growth? Self-growth. My answer is in my little helpful tips and personal stuff at the end. But let's get right into the business and marketing if you're at all interested. So the first thing to mention is that the government and Google and Facebook or search engines are always at odds, kind of like McDonald's and Burger King or McDonald's and Starbucks. It's just very interesting. There's this push-pull, and it's probably because of control and information. And it's just interesting to see it play out because as the digital giants like Facebook and Google get together to provide tracking, and the government is, against some of these things and helping with some of it's just so interesting. So in the marketplace, we're seeing a lot of this in the news articles that are coming out. On my blog post this week, you will see, if you go into that, I'll have all the links to the articles. So if you want to read more or see more. Okay, so Apple and Google's collaboration is pretty amazing, and they're gonna have this new technology to help us find individuals who test positive for COVID. So that's going to be really interesting, especially because it's either we find a vaccine or everybody has to get it slowly over time. So social distancing is not going anywhere. And with that being said, things that Google and technology is coming out, and not just Google, but like Apple and Facebook and Microsoft, they're all working together to figure this out. I don't know if anybody else is following Bill Gates' stuff. He's pretty interesting right now, so go check out his stuff. He has been working on pandemics for a number of years now, so it's pretty interesting. Okay, so also in marketing, Facebook and Google ads are at a record low. If we really dig into this and think about this, so there's no more restaurant advertising. There's not really any travel advertising. So these were big segments. And I mean, this was even a segment in Google that Google was trying to steal, right? If you saw last year in Google's big conference, you could get a lot of information about travel just off Google and things to do. And so Google's been really affected, and Facebook too. So their advertising is down. So maybe it's a good time to look at, that $1 a day strategy. I know Sally does something like that. If you don't know who Sally is, hello, Chelsea. How are you? Tell me, how is it where you are? How are you coping? I guess you're at home with the kids, right? But are you going for those beautiful walks you go on? Tell me. Okay, so more in the marketing sphere. Google and Microsoft have both stated that they're stopping hiring, or they're not hiring as much. They're pivoting. And this is kind of the theme today of how are we looking at things and how are we pivoting our businesses or what we're doing. Or for instance, if you got laid off, are you starting a side hustle? Do you realize that most amazing companies are created times of crisis? It's quite interesting to dig. Google got created. I think Microsoft, all these things. Oh, you're doing good in Penticton. Oh, Penticton, that sounds so lovely. I like where you are. I like where I am. Anybody who's in a city, I'm sorry. It's, you're there for the amenities, and well, amenities are closed, so it's a little harder, right? But I know that most of us are coping pretty well. Back to the news and the marketing. Okay, with Google and Microsoft slowing down the hiring process, and they're pivoting, they're doing investments. So this is where it's really interesting, because they're investing in computer stuff. No, they're investing in data centers and marketing. And I've always been saying lately, not always, but it's a good time to invest in marketing. So switching what we're doing, if we're looking at top of the funnel and just getting ourselves out there and getting more well known, this is a great time, right? This is a great time to build, maybe not to externally go sell, but maybe to build up who we are, what we're doing, get more secure in our processes. So many good things are coming out of this, even though there's a lot of loss and stress and tragedy, right? I mean, I know that if you're at home, like many of us are, there's some things that come up, some personal issues, some identity stuff. We're all struggling, and good ways to manage this are looking at our time and how we're doing things and how we can personally improve. More on that, of course, at the end. So let's get back into it. So Google, this stuff's really interesting. Google is doing a teacher approved thing on apps now. So in the App Store, for parents out there, you will see the little teacher approved, and that's going to help you find great educational apps that are, good for you and your children. So I thought that was really great. I like the teacher approved thing. And the other thing with Google is that adjustment of their investments. So something to pay attention to, because what they're doing might be the smart thing to kind of follow, in my humble opinion. Other interesting things, if you have a group or are in a group, it used to be that you could only mute group members for a week. Now you can do it for up to 28 days. So if you have an overzealous person sharing things that you don't want shared, you can do this. I never use the silence thing, because usually if you're breaking the rules, you're out of there. And we don't really have any rules right now. So unless, you're not posting, you're sharing a post, but not putting any content. I always find that kind of lame, but that's just me. Okay, what else? Cool thing. Facebook is making a bot-only platform to try to figure out spammers and trolls. And I thought that was really interesting. Super interesting they're doing that, because right now it's, as I said yesterday, it's like whack-a-mole. They find one problem, they fix it, they get another one, and it's moving really fast. Chelsea, you're saying get in there and have conversations where people are looking to connect. Yeah, super important to connect with people. We have a great responsibility, those of us that have been online a long time, to help people get comfortable, because this is the new, we could be looking at 2 years of social distancing. That doesn't mean businesses are closed. It just means that things are done a little differently. That being said, we really have to help people connect. And the best way to connect is video, because you can start to gauge people's mannerisms, how they're feeling. Do they have a twitch? Do they have a weird smile? Things like that, things to make you laugh. It's just a better way to be. So get everybody on board who you can. It's really fun. There's so many platforms: Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp. I really like saying WhatsApp. Zoom, Skype, so many, right? Google Meet, which used to be Google Hangouts. So we did the Facebook news. One just small thing to mention. Now, I know you've probably had this mentioned to you before, and I know you probably already know this, but, stop playing those games on Facebook, or make sure you tell other people when they're playing their games, they're giving away their information. There's a new thing about post your grad pictures. Well, you're just giving away some more information. Maybe not the brightest idea. Sometimes we have to hold some info dear to us, like how we looked in our younger years. I don't know. I never play the games because I'm maybe a little paranoid, and yeah, it's a self decision, but always one to bring up to make us all a little more aware, right? Okay, now for a couple of the personal things. I did mention this before about well-being. My routine has really changed, and it's awesome. I'm getting up early, I'm writing, and it's honestly, I am taking the time to section out an hour of my day to writing. And it's it's helped me, as weird as it sounds, blossom into a better person or a more fulfilled person. It is something that has really started to help me. And I'm seeing with some of my friends that people that are usually get up later are getting up earlier. People who get up earlier are sometimes getting up later. Like everybody's adjusting to their natural body routine. I think that's pretty interesting. So finding your groove in all of this is kind of cool. Find your own rhythms. Like, what is your rhythm? Like for me, because of the dogs, and because, of not wanting to see people, sometimes I chase sunset and sunrise, and now being close to the ocean, also the tides. So it's really interesting how to manage my day. Like I go for walks at dinner time for most people, because then I don't have to worry about my ginormous dog, barreling over a small child. So it works for me. So how are you changing your daily life to suit you and your family better? Are you letting your kids sleep in? What are you doing? It's not life as normal. Let's go, right? It's not. Like, it's time to take the time, and we're so lucky we get this time. I mean, I know people are sick and it's a hard go for many people, but there are some beautiful silver lining things that are going on. So yeah. So the last thing I want to talk about is, if you are in marketing and you do own your own business, or say you're a sales rep or something like that, it's time to think a little bit out of the box if you are looking for clients. So let's start thinking about what's going on, right? Like, who is going to be busy in the next 6 months? Debtors, so consumer debt people, probably lawyers that deal with property stuff. There's cyclical things like garden centers. You'd want to get a hold of them probably in like December for this time of year, so they're not too busy to deal with you. But if we start thinking 3 or 4 months out, and we start thinking about what we think is what businesses are going to be affected, who's going to be busy and why, we can really position ourselves as winners in this marketplace. I don't know if I have mentioned, but Phelan codes in Liquid. And so we are not only doing SEO and PPC, but we're actually, and we do this on the side, and on the down low, we build Shopify sites. We're going to be doing that more, some custom work, some generic work, super fun. So that's how we're pivoting a little bit. I'd love to know how you're pivoting. And this is my morning news and marketing tips, right? News and marketing tips every day, 5 days a week. I'm finding it super thrilling. Where I'm getting my information from is I get Google alerts for the things I'm interested in. You should check that out. Last but not least, if you are new to the group and you've made it this far in this video, know that you can go live anytime in the group right now, and know that you can share. You can self-promote. So we used to just do that on the weekends. It's anytime now. Promote your business, start conversations, ask questions. This group is about community and having fun and building and growing together. So take the opportunity to get to know somebody in here. It's a great group of people. What else do I have to say? I think that's it for this morning. Oh, I've been up for a long time. I joined that BNI thing. It's unique people. I'm really different from them, but it's really fun to get to know other business owners, especially online. So that's it for me today. I hope somebody takes an opportunity to go live in the group. And if you're catching the replay, send me some love. If you're still here with me, thank you so much. It's great to talk to you this morning. And I will see you tomorrow morning. And today is our Geek Speak. We are talking about, those things Olympians do where they visualize. That's what we're talking about today. Anyway, see you at 11 if you're coming to Geek Speak. Talk soon. Bye.